Peace be upon you all. If you enter any area in the world where woodpeckers are found, you will feel like you are inside a carpentry workshop with the constant tapping sound throughout the day. The strange thing is that the speed of each peck is like that of an athlete running at full speed. However, if a person did this, they would pass out, while the woodpecker does this between 8,000 to 12,000 times a day. In 1 second, it can peck up to 20 times. So, how can it do all this without harming itself despite the continuous banging? Welcome. Before we begin, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe and activate the bell so you get notified about our videos. Click the red button below. To start with, there are about 180 different species of woodpeckers found all over the world, except in some places like Australia, Madagascar, New Zealand, and polar regions. The vast majority of them are in the Americas and Southeast Asia. Most woodpecker species live in forests and tree-filled areas, with only a few living in places without trees like deserts or rocky mountain slopes. If you're wondering what woodpeckers peck at in the desert, they peck at cacti along with any desert trees they come across, like pine trees. But have you ever asked yourself why they peck in the first place? And why do these specific birds risk their lives like this? It's all about pecking. In fact, there are several reasons. The first reason is to search for food. Woodpeckers go to trees, make a hole, insert their tongue, and start pulling out the insects inside. Additionally, they make their homes by pecking a hole in a tree and sitting inside it, like a nest. The females lay their eggs in these holes until they hatch and grow. Another interesting thing is that pecking is a means of communication and expression for them. Pecking can indicate the bird's control over a certain area. Moreover, it can serve as a form of courtship to attract females. You might even find a woodpecker pecking on a metal surface like a lamppost, not searching for food or making a nest, but simply to attract attention through the sound produced by pecking on the metal. Lastly, there is a fascinating type of woodpecker that pecks trees to use them as a food bank. Just like you find deposit boxes in a bank to store your valuables, these acorn woodpeckers make holes in trees to store their food before winter. You could find a single tree with thousands of holes made over generations of woodpeckers, with each hole precisely sized for a specific acorn. Once the woodpecker finishes digging, it inspects each hole to find one suitable for storing food. It moves from hole to hole until it finds the perfect fit. Interestingly, it keeps moving back and forth between gathering food and storing it in the tree. If it deems a hole unsuitable, it either continues searching or descends to the ground to look for a better spot. A single oak woodpecker can collect around 100 acorns in one day, which is no easy task. What's even more challenging is safeguarding this stockpile from theft. For other animals like squirrels, these trees-turned-food banks are a treasure trove. Woodpeckers work tirelessly, drilling, collecting, and guarding their stash day and night. If a threat is detected, one woodpecker stands guard while others attack, ensuring the safety of their cache. And when a threat is spotted from above, they skillfully hide on a branch, blending in as if they weren't there, a strategy that showcases their remarkable intelligence. Now, you might wonder, do woodpeckers only peck trees? Actually, no. Anything can become a woodpecker's target, including houses. Residents in areas where woodpeckers are common often complain of the constant noise resembling a carpenter's workshop next door, not to mention the holes they drill in the exterior of houses. Some companies profit from this situation by selling products to seal these holes or tools to deter woodpeckers, or even by offering services to help people deal with the woodpecker nuisance. However, harming woodpeckers is illegal in most areas, as they are protected birds. Nevertheless, due to limited enforcement, some individuals may take matters into their own hands without consequences. But the threat of extinction for woodpeckers is real. The real danger to woodpeckers comes from habitat destruction due to agriculture or industry. Yet, despite these challenges, woodpeckers are among the least threatened bird species, except for 3 endangered types: the ivory-billed woodpecker, the imperial woodpecker, and a Japanese species called the okin. Now that we understand the extraordinary abilities of woodpeckers, we should consider the potential harm to humans if anyone were to attempt what woodpeckers do, even just once in their lifetime. If any of you have seen car crash test videos before, you'll notice that during the impact, the car stops suddenly due to the collision. However, the human-like objects inside, which represent the human head, don't stop. They continue forward and often break through the windshield. This is precisely what happens inside a human skull during a severe traumatic brain injury. The human skull is strong and flexible, but the brain inside, which resembles gelatin, floats in cerebrospinal fluid. When sudden acceleration or deceleration occurs, such as during a car crash, the brain itself strikes against the skull. This can cause damage to nerve cells and other tissues, resulting in what is known as a concussion. Concussions have multiple symptoms, including headaches, difficulty concentrating, speech impairment, vision loss, balance issues, and sometimes memory loss. The amount of acceleration experienced by the body before it stops abruptly, if exceeding a certain threshold, can be fatal. For example, when a football player collides forcefully with an opponent during a game, the acceleration force can range from 90 to 100 Gs. In contrast, our woodpecker friend experiences an acceleration force ranging from 1,200 to 1,400 Gs with each peck, which is 14 times the force that can cause a concussion in a human. Moreover, woodpeckers do not experience any concussion or even headaches. Keep in mind, we're talking about just one peck, but a woodpecker pecks 20 times in 1 second.
The first line of defense for woodpeckers is their beak. Their beak is composed of two main layers, a strong outer layer and a flexible inner layer. The outer layer consists of overlapping scales that give the beak its hardness and strength. The inner layer, on the other hand, is soft and absorbs the shocks produced by pecking. Additionally, the shape of the beak resembles a chisel, which facilitates drilling into wood. As you can notice, there's a slight difference in length between the upper and lower beak. This feature helps distribute the force of pecking around the head rather than concentrating it directly in the eye area. Suppose the vibrations produced by pecking manage to surpass the beak. Then, they encounter a spongy bone that absorbs shocks and contains air pockets to dissipate the force of the peck. If all this doesn't prove beneficial and the vibrations manage to pass through the spongy bone, they encounter a fluid-filled space between the bird's skull and brain. Because vibrations don't propagate strongly in fluids, the impact is further reduced. Here lies the utmost sensitivity of the matter. If the amount of this fluid were larger, it would give the brain more space to move, resulting in greater damage. However, compared to other birds, woodpeckers have slightly less fluid in this area, which means the brain doesn't slide easily, thus reducing the risk of vibrations. Therefore, their brain is inherently small, which serves as a means of protection against concussion. Moreover, beyond all these defensive mechanisms, the tongue plays a crucial role. A woodpecker's tongue is literally long, even 3 times longer than its beak. This feature enables it to enter tree holes to extract insects from inside and eat them. But that's not the only role the tongue plays. It also supports an incredible defense mechanism. The tongue in birds is known as the hyoid bone or lingual bone. This bone is present in humans, but in birds, it extends from under the tongue backward to the skull and settles between the bird's eyes. With each peck, the muscles and bones contract as if it's wearing a safety belt across the bird's skull. These remarkable defense capabilities bestowed by the divine make many researchers across various fields attempt to harness them in crafting protective gear for pilots, drivers, or even helmets for American football players, who annually suffer thousands of brain injuries. However, the success of their attempts to reduce injury has transformed stages of the divine defense properties of woodpeckers. That's it for now. You're the coolest folks for liking and sharing. Don't forget to nominate the episode in the comments. Most of the cases we cover nowadays can be taken from your comments. Goodbye.